Nobody in the MCU has lost more than Thor. His hammer, his mother, his father, his brother, twice. His home, his certainty, his will to keep going. And yet here he is, still standing. But here's what most people miss. Every version of Thor isn't just a different look or a different power level. It's a different answer to the same question. Who is Thor without the things he was born with? Strip away the hammer, strip away Asgard, strip away the throne, strip away the family. What's left? That's the question every Thor film has been trying to answer. And the answer took 15 years to find. Version 1, the arrogant Prince Thor in 2011 is everything a god is supposed to be. Powerful, fearless, beloved, a warrior who has never lost a fight and has never had to reckon with why he won them. He walks into Jotunheim and starts a war over a bruised ego. He laughs about it afterward. This version of Thor has never been told no, has never faced a consequence he couldn't fight his way out of, has never questioned whether strength alone is enough to make someone worthy of power. And then Odin strips him of everything. No powers, no hammer, no Asgard. One mortal planet and the beginning of the hardest lesson of his life. This is Thor at his most impressive and his most empty. A god with everything, who turns out to be worth very little without it. Version 2. The hero. Something changed on Earth. The man who came back from Midgard wasn't the same one who left. He'd learned humility. He'd learned that power without purpose is just noise. He'd watched a man with no powers at all, a soldier from Brooklyn, be more worthy than he'd ever been. By 2012, Thor fights differently. He fights for people rather than for glory. He stands next to humans he could crush without effort and treats them as equals. But Loki is here. And every time Thor looks at his brother, the brother he loves, the brother who is doing terrible things, the brother he cannot stop trying to save, you see the wound that will define everything that follows. Thor can handle any enemy. He cannot handle losing his family. Version 3. The grieving son. Frigga dies. And Thor, who has faced armies, monsters, and gods, doesn't know what to do. He goes to his mother's room. He sits in the dark. He doesn't speak. This is the version of Thor most people skip past. The one between the battles. The one sitting with grief he has no weapon for. Dark World is the least loved Thor film. But it contains the most important emotional beat in his entire arc. Because this is the first time Thor loses something he cannot get back, cannot fight for, cannot fix. The hammer can level mountains. It cannot undo death. And Thor is learning, slowly, painfully, that the things that matter most are exactly the things his power cannot protect. Version 4. The worthy. One party. One hammer that barely moved. When Thor lifts Mjolnir at Tony's party, the entire room goes quiet. Because everyone felt it. A reminder of what Thor is, what he represents. The standard that worthiness actually demands. But here's what matters about this version. Thor is at his most confident. His team is intact. His brother is gone, but the wound is manageable. His world feels stable. He has no idea what's coming. Version 5. The broken king Odin dies. Hela arrives. Asgard burns. And Thor loses Mjolnir, the hammer he has carried his entire life, the symbol of everything he believed about himself, and discovers something that changes his understanding of who he is completely. The power was never in the hammer. It was always in him. That revelation should feel triumphant, and for a moment it does. Lightning pours from his hands. He fights Hela at full power without a weapon. But Asgard still falls. The people survive, scattered, homeless, grieving, and Thor becomes a king without a kingdom. He won the battle. He lost everything else. Version 6. The man who almost changed everything. Thor spends Infinity War doing the impossible. He forges a new weapon in a dying star. He arrives on the battlefield in Wakanda at the exact right moment and turns the tide of the entire war. He drives Stormbreaker into Thanos' chest. He almost wins, and then Thanos tells him, "Go for the head." That single moment, that one choice to savor the victory instead of finish it, that is the thing Thor carries into the 5 years that follow. Not the losses, not Loki dying in front of him 3 minutes into the film, not watching Thanos snap his fingers. The almost. The fact that Thor had the solution in his hands and it wasn't enough. Version 7. The man who gave up. 5 years later, New Norway. A house full of empty bottles and a man who stopped being Thor. This is the version of Thor that makes people uncomfortable. Because it's not cinematic depression. It's not dramatic grief. It's the quiet, ugly, ordinary way people fall apart when they've lost too much and run out of fight. He stopped, not because he's weak, because he gave everything he had for 1,000 years to people and places and purposes that are all gone, and he had nothing left to pour out. He went anyway when the Avengers came, broken, shaking, barely resembling the god who forged a star. He went anyway. And when he called Mjolnir in that bunker, when Jane's Mjolnir flew into his hand across universes, and he looked at it with tears in his eyes, what he said matters more than any battle cry in the entire MCU. I'm still worthy. He wasn't saying it to Thanos. He wasn't saying it to the Avengers. He was saying it to himself. 8 versions, 1 question. Who is Thor without the things he was born with? The answer took 15 years and cost him almost everything to find. He is a man who keeps showing up, even when he has nothing left, even when he's lost the hammer and the kingdom and the family and the certainty that any of it matters. He shows up, and in the end, that's worth more than every power he was ever born with.